So how do you build a civilization from scratch? I mean, really, from the ground up. Well, today we're going to journey thousands of years into India's past to find out. We're going to trace this incredible path from tribes just trying to survive with sharpened rocks all the way to a society building some of the most sophisticated cities in the entire ancient world. You know, the answer starts with the most basic human need there is: survival. So let's just forget about the great cities or powerful kingdoms for a second. Instead, picture this simple, almost brutal reality of finding food, building some kind of shelter, and just living to see the next sunrise. That's where the story of India really begins.
And our story kicks off deep, deep in the Stone Age. Now get this. This one single period is so unbelievably vast, it covers 99% of all human history on the subcontinent. Yeah, you heard that right. Everything we usually think of as history, empires, wars, famous monuments, that's all just crammed into the final 1%. So let's dig into that enormous foundation.
Just look at this timeline for a moment. I mean, look at the sheer scale of the Stone Age. That first bar, the Paleolithic, it absolutely dwarfs everything else. We are talking about hundreds of thousands of years where humanity's entire existence was defined by struggle and adaptation. It wasn't just some phase. For the longest time, it was the human story. And for all those millennia, survival literally came down to tools just like this one: a crude, unpolished hand axe. This thing was the Swiss Army knife of the ancient world. And believe it or not, it was the discovery of one just like it near modern-day Chennai back in 1863 that kicked off the entire study of India's prehistory. They weren't pretty, but for hunting, for crafting, for defense, they were life itself. Then something changed. As the climate warmed up after the last ice age, technology evolved with it. This new era, the Mesolithic, brought on a revolution in miniature. Tiny, incredibly sharp stone tools called microliths. Now, this was a huge leap forward. All of a sudden, you could create much more complex tools, things like barbed spears or sickles, and you could hunt faster, more agile animals. It was a game changer. And what this shows us is that the change wasn't just about better tools, it was a revolution in thinking. I mean, for the very first time, we see clear evidence of people domesticating animals. We see the birth of art, with people expressing their world on cave walls. And maybe most profoundly, we see these careful burials with goods for the journey, a sign that they were starting to ask one of humanity's biggest questions: what comes next? So, this all sets the stage for what is probably the first truly massive leap in human history, the Neolithic Revolution. This is the exact moment humanity went from just taking from nature as a gatherer to actively shaping it as a producer. And it all really hinges on this powerful trio. First, agriculture takes root, and we see some of the world's earliest evidence for rice cultivation right here. But that farming surplus creates a brand new problem. How do you store all this food? The solution? Pottery. And finally, once you're tied to your crops, well, you stop wandering. You build permanent homes, and poof, the first villages are born. But of course, those humble villages were just the beginning. With a stable food supply, brand new technologies, and a growing population, the stage was officially set for something truly astonishing: India's first great urban civilization. Right. So about 4,500 years ago, while Stonehenge was still being built in Britain, this incredibly sophisticated urban culture just exploded across the Indus Valley. Its discovery in the 1920s completely shattered the old colonial myth that civilization was somehow an import to India. No, this proved that a massive, brilliantly organized society was already building great cities right here. And what's amazing is that almost every major Indus city, from Harappa to Mohenjo-daro, followed this very deliberate two-part layout. You've got the raised, fortified citadel, probably for rulers and important public buildings, and then the much larger lower town for everybody else. This careful design just screams that they had a complex, organized society with a clear social structure from the get-go. The level of central planning here was, well, it was simply mind-boggling for the ancient world. We're talking about streets laid out in a perfect grid, standardized bricks, almost like they came from a factory, for all construction. And maybe most impressive of all, a sophisticated underground drainage system that connected every single house. This was a level of public works that many cities around the world wouldn't see again for thousands of years. And yet, for all their architectural genius and organizational skill, a huge mystery lies right at the heart of the Indus Valley civilization. We found thousands of these little seals covered in their writing, this beautiful script, just full of symbols. But to this day, nobody, not a single person in the world, has been able to decipher it. Their voices are completely silent.
After those great Indus cities mysteriously declined, urban life itself just seemed to fade away for a while. And in its place, a new culture gradually emerged, one that wasn't defined by massive brick buildings, but by sacred oral text called the Vedas and a totally different way of life. Okay, so this chart right here, it reveals a really fundamental transformation over 1,000 years. Just look at the shift. The early Vedic people, they were semi-nomadic pastoralists. Society was tribal, your wealth was literally counted in how many cows you had, and chiefs were often elected. But then, you fast forward to the later Vedic period and everything has changed. Iron tools have made settled farming the new norm, big kingdoms have replaced the old tribes, and society is becoming way more rigidly structured. This final foundational stage, the later Vedic age, it was really defined by three incredibly powerful forces that would go on to shape the subcontinent for the next 2,000 years, and honestly, even beyond. You can actually see how these three things created this powerful chain reaction. Widespread iron tools meant you could clear forests for farms, which created a huge agricultural surplus. That surplus could support larger populations and armies, which in turn led to the rise of big territorial kingdoms, or Janapadas. And to manage these complex new kingdoms, well, that's when a rigid social hierarchy, the Varna system of priests, warriors, merchants, and laborers, was officially put into place.
And so the blueprint is complete. We have traced this incredible path from hunter-gatherers with their simple stone tools to farmers in the very first villages. We've walked through the gates of masterfully planned cities, and we've entered a new age of kingdoms, forged by iron and structured by a brand new social order.
Each one of these ancient blueprints, from the Stone Age survivors to the Indus city builders to the Vedic poets, they all laid the foundation for everything that came after. Their innovations, their social structures, and even their unsolved mysteries still resonate today. Which leaves us with one big final question. How many of those ancient bricks are still a part of the world we're all living in right now?